Hello everyone, welcome back to Angela's Craft Room. Today I've got a Twisted Easel card for you. Now I was asked to do a mail card, a 40th mail card, and so I thought I'd do a Twisted Easel card. For the big numbers, I've used the large number framelits. They're just fantastic because you can do whatever number you like. It also comes with a banner framelit, which is great because you just stamp your image and then cut it out with your big shot with that framelit, the banner framelit, and it just makes the sentiment look so much neater. So you can see I've used it across there. And this is, I've used a masking technique which I'm going to show you, and I'll show you how I got this fold and the bow tie. So we'll get started. So to start with, for your base card, I'm using Knight of Navy. You need 11 inches long by 4 1/4 inches wide, and you're going to score at 5 1/2 inches. And then to get the Twisted Easel card, what you need to do, I'll fold that in and score that for you first. So that's your normal card. And then what we need to do, we need to score from one of these sides. I choose this side. I'll put it up this way. It's a lot easier to explain, and I know it's hard for you to see because it's Knight of Navy, but you'll see it as we go. Now we need to score from this top corner down to this corner here. My 5 1/2 inch score line goes across there, so I need to score down to there. So from up there down to there, and you can do that very easily with your Stampin' Up trimmer. I find it easier to use. So what I do is I just put that top corner in the track and then line it up down here, so my score line comes across there, so the end of my score line is in that track, and just make sure the top hasn't moved, and then just hold your finger on this side, let it drop, hold it down tight, and then just score down with your scoring plate down like that. So that's the easiest way with these cards that I find. And then we're going to fold it. So then you're going to get that effect, and it will flop up because once we finish the card, it will sit in place. It needs some heaviness on there. So that's just the base part for the Twisted Easel card. So that's quite easy. So we'll just set that aside. And then we need our front panel, which is going to be on the front of the easel card, and that measures 5 1/2 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and that's the piece that we're going to work on to start with. So my first piece of DSP paper that I want measures 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. Now you have to find the 2 5/8 of an inch, so that's literally halfway. So yeah, half of 5 1/4 is 2 5/8. So you find that there, and then you're going to cut it down, which I've already done before coming on camera for you to save a little bit of time. Just cut it down to the 2 inch mark. Now we're going to fold those back to make like the collar. Now what I find is the easiest way is get down to your 2 inch mark there and just bring your ruler up to that edge like that. Now it's not right on that tip of the corner, it's just in a diagonal line, and I just bring that up like that. Now this, rather than just scoring it, doing it this way, you're not going to tear your designer series paper, and you just crease that with your finger, and you can see how that brings that up. So then we just need to do the other side. We're going to use the bone folder, but we just want to make a start of it. Like that. So then we're going to use the bone folder, crease it down. Bone folder, crease it down. Right, then you've got that shape. So then I'm just going to apply some snail adhesive under these flaps, just to keep them, so that keeps them down. Fold them back down. Twisted easel cards can be all different sizes. I just really like this shape that this one's turned out to be. So that's like that. And then we're going to apply that to our card, like so. I just think I'll just press that down a bit more. Press that down a bit more. Now we're going to turn that over and apply the Snell adhesives, and you've got to get right up in these corners because you don't want that lifting. It's not so bad going along here or along the bottom, but it's just getting up in those corners. They really need to. So I'll just go off camera a minute so that I can, so that's, yep. So we're going to apply that to our card. So I'm only eyeballing it just to where I want it. That. Then what we want to do next is, because I'm not going to have a number on this one, so I'm doing something different on this one. Now, just to show you how I do the masking. Now what you'll have to do is, I've got this stamp image from the guide greetings, which is the car, and I've stamped that. So I've stamped that and cut it out. Now you keep that, put it inside your stamp greetings stamp set, and you can use it over and over again. You can see this one I've used it that many times that I had to make a new one for this card. So I'll be putting that in my stamp greetings card. Now what you do is, to start with, you just stamp. I'll come in a bit for you so you can see. Now I just stamp the first image there, and then I just put my mask over there like that. And then when I'm stamping my second one, you're going to be stamping a bit on the mask and a bit behind the first car. So you just leave a really little bit so you can just see there, and then just bring it up just a little bit like I have there, and then just stamp it on there again, and you will stamp some of it onto the mask, and then when you remove the mask it gives you the image that those two cars are behind each other. Okay, so that's just another technique that you can use. And then what I've done is I've cut the two cars out. Okay, so we'll go back out a bit. So I'm going to put them on my card about there. Now I'm going to use dimensionals to do that. So I'll just quickly do that for you. You don't have to put as many on as I do, but I like to put a fair few on, as people that know me do, because I don't want it coming off, especially if someone's ordered a card. You don't want the recipient to have something falling off their card, you know, a couple of months down the track. I might just put one more in there, and then I'm just going to pop that on my card about there. Okay, so we've got that. Then what I did was, from the guy greeting stamp, I stamped out the little shoe stamp, and I cut just from a scrap piece of paper that's just night and navy. I'm just going to glue that onto there like that. And then just stick that onto your night of navy. Now it's up to you how you would like to place it on your card, but I thought I would place it like that, or you could have the shoes going down like that. You could have them on a corner, but I think that I would have them like that. And once again, I think I'll just apply this with snail, because I don't want to take away from the car how I've put that up on dimensionals. I don't want to take it away from the cars. So I'm just going to glue that down there. So that's nice and straight. So that's what we've got for the front of the card so far. Then what we're going to do next is I'm going to grab my Winker Stella, and just on the car, my clear Winker Stella, and I'll just bring you in a little bit, and all I'm going to do is add a little bit of Winker Stella. And you'll find by adding this, if you go over your colour of your stamped image, so I've used Old Olive, it'll actually bring a bit of the colour onto the white. I use this Winker Stella quite a lot. I just love it. Just adds that bit of added dimension. And, you know, if you can just wet your ink a little bit, and then it's going to actually darken that colour a little bit, and it will well, it's really bleeding, but it's a good effect because in this case it's a good effect because it's making a little bit of that colour go onto the white. So I'll just put a bit more. Now I'm not going to put it, know whether to put it on the shoes or not. You could put a little bit on the shoes just to glossy them up a bit, but not so much as the car because you don't want to take away from the car. So that just adds a bit of another effect to your card. Then we need to make the bow tie. Now, as I said, I've used the Build a Bow punch. So to do that, you just, turn the punch over and release it, and then you just put your piece of cardstock in there like so and punch, but I'm not going to use that piece, so I've already gone ahead and I don't know which way I'm going to go. I've punched to make the bow. You need 2 of those. You don't need the tails, and you need 1 of those, but I've actually punched it in the green and also in the Fluoro Boutique designer series paper. You don't need the tails in this case. And I think I'm going to go with the, because we've got a lot of blue on here, and if we were to put a blue bow tie there, I'll just show you. If we were to put it's going to really blend in too much. So get my bone folder. Now when you've punched your pieces for your tie, you just get your bone folder and just twirl that, and the same with this piece. And then I just use some glue dots and grab my tweezers, and you just put 1 glue dot You can see I've put the glue dot in there, and I'm just putting that together like that. Just give it a bit of a push with your finger, and that's one side of your bow tie. So then we just do exactly the same to the other side. Can get my finger off it, and then press that down so you've got that side. Okay, so I'll zoom back out. Then to join those 2 together, we need another glue dot, and we're just going to put that on there. And then you're just going to put that down. It's that easy to make these bow ties. So then you've got that, right? Then instead of putting the plain piece round, what I thought I would do is get the little piece of designer series paper one I punched out, just to give it a bit of contrast colour. So on the back of the bow I'm going to put a glue dot, and then just on the little bit of designer series paper right on the end there, I'm going to put a bit of glue dot. So I'm going to just wrap that round the middle of my bow tie. Now you just need to fiddle a little bit with it, squish it in till you're happy how it looks. And I'm pretty happy with that bow tie. So then what I'm going to do is grab a bit of tear and tape and put on the back of the tie. So we don't want the tie coming off, so there's no way it will come off with tear and tape. So I know I'm using a lot of different adhesives. They're all available from Stampin' Up, but there is a reason, and I do try and explain the reason I'm using that particular adhesive. So then we're just going to apply that bow tie to the middle of our card, like so. And you might want to, if you're thinking it's looking a bit more like a bow rather than a tie, you just squish that down with your bone folder. When I'm doing the bow ties, I don't add the tails because it looks more like a bow then, so I just use those pieces there that I've showed you, and that's, so far it's coming along quite nicely. So now we need that one. Now I showed you in the big number framelits there was a banner, so I've stamped congratulations, and using that banner I've cut it out with the big shot, and just going to apply that to the card with my dimensionals. I do like doing the different fold cards, as those that know me, and I haven't done any for a while, so I thought I'd just do a tutorial on a couple of different fold cards for you. So then we're going to bring in our front piece that's going to go on the front of our card. Now we just want to put, oh, that was tricky. Now we're just going to put that, try and center it. Just press down where you've got the dimensionals, and that's the front of your card coming out quite nicely. Now we need to bring back in the easel, the base easel that we did at the beginning. Okay, so remember it was 11 inches long by 4 1/4 wide, and we scored it at 5 1/2, which is the normal fold for the card. But then we've also got the score line going from top to bottom, so we get that effect. So I'll just zoom out a bit now. Now, what we're going to do is put the other piece of DSP that we need is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches, and that's going to be on my front like that, so that when the card stands up, you've got your DSP on the front like that. So I'll just go ahead and stick that one down, and you only need to use your snail. And just remember, the good thing with Stampin' Up, all the designer series paper is double-sided, so you can use what other side you like. So I'm just going to eyeball that again. And pop that on there. Now we've got that much. Okay, now when we're going to stick this on the front of the card now. Now, because it's a Twisted Easel card, you don't want to put glue all over here, because you don't want this part to be glued to your front piece, because if you do, it's not going to stand for you like that. So I find the easiest way is to use the liquid multi-liquid glue. And what we're going to do, so I don't get glue everywhere, we're going to apply it to this bottom triangle. And I find this is the easiest way when you're doing the Twisted Easel card. So you just want to go around the edge. So you don't want any in this top triangle whatsoever. And then you're going to line this up. And the good thing about using the wet glue is you do have those few moments to move it if you don't get it exactly where you want it. So you'll see what I mean. So when you turn it up, it's not glued to that bottom piece. So we just, that's pretty even. So I just press down around the sides, especially the bottom part. Remember, we're not gluing the top part. It's just habit that I'm pressing right up there. So we just need to hold that down a bit so it's going to add here. Right. Now with my cards, I like to line these pieces too. So I've gone ahead and cut 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches, and then I've just cut them diagonally so that we can line inside the cards here. And if they're just a little bit too big, just trim them off, but those measurements should be right. So using just the snail, which way do I want to? Just do it that way. So we're going to apply, and you'll need to get right up in that corner. You don't need to put too much on because it's just lining the inside, but I do like to finish my cards off. But that's entirely up to you. You don't have to put this inside if you don't want to, but it does finish them off. So put one piece there. We'll put the other piece on. And then we're just going to put this other, just going to line this other piece up. Just remember with the snail though, you're not going to get any grace to move it once you've put it down. So then that's going to be the inside. So it just looks more finished when you've got the inside like that. Then on the back here, I also finish the same way. What I usually do for the back is, so it's showing the double-sided. That's, you know, entirely up to you how you want to do it. I'm just hopefully giving you some ideas on how to do your cards. So we're just going to line that up there. And then that one's going to go that way, so we need to glue it on this side. And then we're just going to eyeball it. Be a bit more careful doing the back than inside though, because people are going to really see this. See what I mean? It's just sometimes it's a bit of a fiddle game sometimes. There we go. So then when you've got it standing up, it does look finished on the outside and the inside. So now we just have to make our stopper for the front. So I've just taken a piece of scrap Night of Navy, and I've taken a piece of the Floral Boutique Designer Series paper that we've used. Now because you have to work out which side you want to show, and remember it's going to be on there. So I think I'll go that way. Now, because it's going to act as a stopper, you really need to use dimensionals on the back here, because you need this to be raised up, because when the card's open, this is what's going to stop it from closing. You can use that, you could use buttons. You just need to make something that's going to stop it from closing. So that's raised that a bit. Then we just need to, I'm just going to put it on this piece as well, so it does raise it even further. So it's, and you'll find when you put that front piece on your Twisted Easel card that it will hold, it will stand up a lot better, like when I showed you at the very beginning, just making that the base part, and it wasn't really standing. But once you can see now that we've applied this piece that's got all the components on the front, that it's standing quite well, and it's just going to shut flat like that. So you just have to decide where you want to put your stopper. So I just hold the card up and just think where I want it. Now this will just get applied with some snail. So it's just, because we've got so much dimensionals on it, it's a bit hard to apply the snail sometimes. So I'm just going to, I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm just holding it up and seeing where I would like that to be, so it holds the card open. So just press down on my dimensionals. And there is your Twisted Easel card finished. So I'll just go, oops, just go out a bit for you. So I've showed you a few different techniques there. So I hope you will try the Twisted Easel card, because it is a fantastic one, and this one does make a great mail card as well, using that Guy Greetings stamp set. So the first one I showed you was for a particular person, 40th, which is a mail card again, which I used the designer series paper on this one. I used the Moroccan, and I used the Early Espresso cardstock with the Cajun Craze cardstock, and it just sits up like that. And then we used the Flora Boutique designer series paper with this one, so a completely different look. And we've used Old Olive here stamping the shoes and the cars, the Old Olive cardstock for the bow tie, along with the Night and Navy as the background. And that one goes up like that. So I hope you will give these easel cards a try. As I said, you will see them round Pinterest. They will be different shapes, and this is just the shape that I really liked. I wanted to make it, for the 40th one, I wanted a bigger, wider card. A lot of the Twisted Easel cards on Pinterest you will find are a lot smaller, but they're the ones that I like to get the size that I want. So I'll just quickly go through the sizes, the measurements again. So we started off with a piece of cardstock 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and we scored it at 5 1/2 inches. Then we scored from the left corner to the bottom score line, and we folded that, and that made the twisted easel part. Then we had to make a front panel, which was cardstock, and that measured 5.5 by 4.25 inches. And then the top piece of DSP that we cut to make it look a little bit like a shirt and your lapels bent back. This piece of cardstock was 5.25 inches by 4 inches, and then you had to find the middle, which was 2 5/8 of an inch, and then you cut down from, you find the 2 5/8 of an inch, and then you cut down to the 2 inches, and then I showed you with the ruler how we bend those back to make like a lapel. And then finally the front piece. What I mean by the front piece is that's your card, this piece in here, that measured 5.25 inches by 4 inches. And then just to get these pieces that I said, you know, I put on mine because I feel it makes them look more finished, that is also 5.25 inches by 4 inches, and then you just slice it on your Stampin' Up trimmer diagonally, and then just adhere those to your card. And like your stopper can be anything, but you know, I'm sure you'd have scraps or cut-offs that you could use. And just remember, you need to use dimensionals on each layer so that you've got that stopper to stop it from falling forward. It's going to sit up like that, and then for posting, it's going to lie flat, so it's going to post very easily in the normal envelope. So that's the Twisted Easel card, and I'd just like to thank you for spending some of your day with me today, and I hope that helps you to know how to make a Twisted Easel card. I look forward to seeing you in my next tutorial. Thank you.